right. Well, thank you all for coming. Go ahead and get started. This is once again a work session. Um, Everyone have the agenda? Okay. So, as I shared in the email, and thank you for asking your question, Nick, the reason the minutes keep rolling over month to month is they haven't been put up for a vote. We have not hit quorum, which also means they can't be amended. So they do have the wrong month in the minutes, but they are from May. Just a quick update on that. There was an applicant the trustees met with, and they did not move forward to appointment. So we're still at 3 of us, and we're still recruiting for an open position. That being said, work session means we can have conversation, reports, provide feedback. We just don't take any votes. And minutes, no roll call. Let's just have a conversation. So let's move into our first action item, which is the purchasing policy. This was requested by Trustee Cannon to come back up after you all had a chance to review it. Specifically, his comments were around signature authority guidelines, what you all felt comfortable with. So go ahead and open the discussion there. Trustee Cannon is here shortly, but any conversation, thoughts, insight, feedback? I guess we can.
You people.
Just want to make sure.
You're so thoughtful. Thank you.
Specifically, page 14 of the packet, page 6, the purchasing policy lists out those summary of purchasing thresholds. I think I shared last month, and I'm happy to share again. Peak card limit of 1,000 is somewhat limiting. Conferences, training, hotels can be over $1,000. Engineers have requested a higher signature authority. Now, currently, down at the bottom of that page, appropriated budget items don't have to go back in front of 30,000. A truck alone is 60%. So if it's in the CIP appropriated line item specifically, and I say this because we're in budget season and I'm looking at CIP budgets. There are trucks coming up in public works. Those are $70,000, $80,000. If the board approves the CIP budget, approves the appropriation. Trustee Cannon's thoughts behind that. I don't want to speak for him, but my takeaway was that the appropriation is approved, let's staff to make the purchase. Give the people.
I think that makes sense, right? And it's already been approved once. Why do it again?
My only question would be, how are we because what you're saying is we set the budget.
Mhm.
Then they go get this.
A lot of budget research at this time of year. So we're now putting together our numbers for next year. So we are, our department heads, our teams are doing that research now. Maybe not a specific the vehicle we will be buying, unless it is specific types of vehicles. But we're looking at this is how much a pickup truck that would be needed for public works is going to cost. So it's not that they are not usually.
And we generally come in under budget. We've been pretty fortunate going out on the market and looking at used vehicles and things like that. So we generally come in under budget, but they do budget for like a brand new vehicle might be.
Okay. I wonder if you lose some of your purchasing. I guess it's. I'm familiar with ambulance purchasing.
Sure.
And the manufacturer knows you have $100,000 to spend. They're gonna make sure you spend it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
Sure.
It's going to be approved or not. Might give you some negotiating power, or at least some pressure to not try to.
Sure. Spend up to $30,000 or whatever. But how would you recommend we put that like in a line item for budget? Because we don't purchase a lot of vehicles. It's not like we purchase a fleet or 3 or 4 in 1 year. It's like one. No.
I don't know what the time is.
Ours is running about.
So spending.
Sure. Sure.
Set.
Based on what the bid you mentioned. That's something we can certainly talk to Bob about. I don't know. I've not been involved in their fleet purchase process. It's just been, what's been included in the budget, but we can certainly talk to him about that. It's a great idea.
Yeah, like I said, I'm familiar with it, and a lot of these purchases are grant funds, so we're trying to, not your purchases, but the ambulance.
Yes,
purchases.
right. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that. That's why I feel we've been really fortunate coming in. But I think that's a discussion. And billing as well. You're welcome.
Appreciate that insight.
Thanks.
So on the P cards, does everybody have one?
Not it. It is dependent.
Is there set levels? So it's not just
Yeah, and we could definitely set that within the policy as far as within the actual key card program from the bank, the issuing bank. I'd have to do some research that's been managed by other individuals that I haven't dug into yet. I'm not a provider, so that in long list of things I'd like to see.
2025. I think it's a 2025
yeah.
item, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not on the short list. There are higher priorities. I would like to see us look at different options that are out there. These sorts of things, but if it's in the policy, I do purchases, review the transactions, and make sure we're within the purchasing policy. Each one. Those are so if we felt that the thresholds within the policy deserve
Yeah, I mean,
well, we've had situations, landscapers, vendors that are outside of this.
Is that per purchase or is that?
That is per purchase. If it is something that's going to be over 1,000, there is a way for us to do a exception, involves adding that second or first level view to ensure it. But that's going to be, those are very much nice.
You go through that process. They contact me. Submit a request.
There's not an intent to curtail. This is the board. Yes, the board can set whatever dollar they would like. This is for asking. Trustee Cannon's ideas that you suggested.
for outside.
I'm sorry, I don't know if we've checked with other municipalities. I started to go down that road at one point in time, and then of course, but so I thought it might be interesting what other municipalities of our size and potentially budget. Johnstown doesn't budget, but it's our size. But maybe we could check with Eaton, Berthoud. Maybe Milliken's smaller, but might be close in the size of budget. I don't know. Might be good to check in.
I think 2,500 is kind of what I was thinking about.
Sure.
I do a lot of traveling. You'd have to be at a conference for.
Yes.
Right.
So,
I just for comparison's sake, I am going to be secretary event, and that is 2,500. I think most.
Crazy. I know it's cheaper for me to fly to Europe than it is to go see my parents in Connecticut.
Alex, any? Yep. Absolutely. And the department heads review them, and also yes. Yes, so actually it is a little farther down. Starts on page 20 of 104 of the policy. There's a travel policy. What we do, talk about airfare, whether parking is paid, mileage, per diem, meal plans.
Yeah, so that would address how you.
We do use I do actual receipts. We don't pay for alcohol. We don't pay meals. Hotel you're staying at provides it, like breakfast. Any thoughts on signature guidelines? Yeah.
Some reference to positions.
Former city. We do not have that. Finance department.
I wish that would be so helpful. Be so great.
I guess we might want to work backwards a little bit. The appropriated budget items. What is a dollar amount appropriated in the budget doesn't need to go back from the states, because that limit correlates administrator signing.
It's a huge number. What do you think?
Let me think about this. I got some.
The easiest one that I've been able to come up with is the actual vehicles. So we have had large construction vehicles, like utility vehicles, public works type vehicles, that are in the area of plus or minus a little bit. And even though it was approved in the budget and the CIP, once we have now a purchase agreement, we have to take that back to
just slows down. Actually,
everything does, and it is, it takes a lot of time. We gotta set up packet, we have to put together packet documents, then we're taking up board of trustee time, and it's not very efficient.
Right. So just keep it in mind.
And from my notes, that's what I'm seeing, is that's what municipalities are doing.
I'm not certain that stuff.
Okay.
I think that trustees should be specifications. Selection. They should have recycling. Because this is not an acquisition, this is just sometimes it's businesses feel that cities that may not be trustees like that's being purchased because they special. They were just asked that is the term that they wished to purchase. And so they don't have to receive every single step. Just having so they're just it's not just it's the actual purchase that they should be aware have oversight of. And so they set the dollar amount for the budget a year ahead. That's just based off of somebody saying, hey, one of these trucks is probably going to cost $100,000, so we set aside that budget. But they don't know what they're actually buying at that point. So being accountable for the purchases that the town is making is what I think we're trying to do by having these levels of oversight. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to have. It's kind of like, what are they signing for?
Sure, but isn't that part of my job? To make sure that people are staying in line, and directors, that's their job to make sure that people aren't out requesting for XM radio. I mean, Bob, I don't know if you've ever met Bob Gowing. That's never happening. I mean, the people under him, that's the thing. I mean, it could change over the years, as far as leadership. But I feel like, the board of trustees, their job is policy. The implementation of policy, it's our job to make sure that we keep operations running, that we meet the budget requirements and things like that. I certainly see what you're saying, and if this group, that's what they want to request or recommend, I will not have my feelings hurt whatsoever. I'm just trying, Nick's been going through this, and as I've talked to Trustee Cannon, we're just trying to find ways to be more efficient in our work here. But if that's something that you all think is important for them to have all of that information. We've had a trustee at one time question us about the brand of truck, the research on I don't know anything about engines, but a specific engine, and I'm like, but we did.
Yeah, I'm certainly.
I know, and I'm not taking it that way. That's why I'm just saying, if y'all recommend something else, my feelings will not be hurt whatsoever. I'm just saying, in the interest of efficiency, And if it's approved in the budget and the directors are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that's the oversight of their department, the oversight of their budget, and they know from me or whoever the town administrator is what our directions are, or directives, then I don't know if bringing it back makes sense. But again,
So that, like, the logic question that I'm asking myself when I see these is, what is it that they are signing? So when they approve a budget, appropriated budget amount, what is it? What's the question we're asking them to sign? Is it to just say, we're okay if we spend $11,000 on this thing?
I love that. That's spectacular. I'm
Yeah.
gonna use that someday.
Is that the question?
Some consistency, because I'm thinking, I would always, I mean, with the board of trustees, each one of them individually, at least once a month, in my reports, when I talk to them, did an override on this, whatever. That's me. So who knows, administrator number 2 down the road, how they would report out or keep people updated, and the purchasing policy should be something that protects the town and protects the board of trustees for how the finances are being used. So I hear what you're saying. I had to talk through it so I could get it here.
There's one way that
Yeah. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Trying to think of things that have had to come back to the trustees. Generally, it's been like the vehicle, like the truck came in at $30,000. So that was over, it was already budgeted for, but above what I could, 31.5, just say it came in at 31.5, so we have to bring it back. So, maybe 50,000 would be more, and I'm thinking maybe it's a contract for, we're getting ready to do the Cleveland Avenue project. Maybe it's a contract that, okay, the project's been approved, but we're going to have to go back to the board of trustees and to, get contracts something authorized.
or back to the state purchasing plan, if it's on the state purchasing plan, and the board approves a utility pickup truck.
Sure.
The state purchasing plan has what they think the cost is going to be this year. It could change next year, but this year it's this amount. Board is approving a purchase of a truck. That shouldn't need more approvals.
Yeah.
Even if the price changed.
Right. Yes.
The accountability is that the state
Yes.
plan.
How much, I don't know how we use that state.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
I think that we have the state plan for finding cheaper vehicles. Not going through the state plan. But if it, yeah, at the state plan level, makes sense. Here.
Maybe I'll get in touch.
Check and
State purchasing. See how we could use. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that we use the, of course. We haven't here being such a small organization, so someone. 12.
Sometimes that it's okay to say we're purchasing.
Yeah. Yep.
quick source of sourcing. There may be administrative fees associated with us participating in that as well. I can,
Why don't you check in with Jenny Jones? Anybody who's checked into it before, it's probably her. And if she doesn't, if she hasn't, I'm sure she'd be willing to look into it for you. Pick something up. You're welcome.
it kind of sounds though like maybe we should move 30 to 50 and look at from some of these larger ones if there's other caveats we can carve out with more of that, like estate purchasing. Does that sound? And then that could town administrator signing authority guideline to 50, maybe department heads, directors, 40.
I can see sense.
Mm-hmm.
How many purchases above 30,000 do you think? How much are they saying?
Yeah.
I mean, there are things that it's obviously it's getting more expensive, just in general. So we're looking at like contracts for janitorial services, your IT contracts, even like payroll services. Those are, you look at the annual cost of some of that, just what it costs for us to do business. Those, I would say 50 is probably mid to high end nowadays.
Well, we can start somewhere. I mean, always be adjusted. So it's a lot of times that's what we do.
That's term.
Yep.
With not trying to see.
Well, and we saw last week, a great example. Comment everything. It took a while, and it's important. You need to give it the time. But other agenda items got tabled in 2 weeks. So we have a contract that gets tabled. What risk did we lose of that in doing that? So the only other question I would have then is engineers. And I don't have a number from them. They pay for higher than 5,000.
Sure. They're probably doing contracts as well.
Smaller scale,
Smaller
like
scale.
per project.
I don't think it's stuff. I think it's more of contracts. We don't buy a lot of stuff here.
So is there a contracting process?
So that, I mean, that is outlined. We do have the bidding threshold. So
Threshold process. What is the process? So
RFQ, and then solicit the bids, and they go through a vetting process generally, and a group of staff will be together and go through the contracts and score them, and then we include that scoring and ranking sheet in with, like if it has to go to the Board of Trustees, that information is included in the packet items for the board to review. But that's, we do collect all the information to make a decision.
okay, so it surprises me.
Mm. Well, I think it's because of our small organization, so we just have one director over there, and then we have 3 engineers. So 2 of the engineers have been overseeing the water treatment plant expansions, and so signing off on a lot of those or being responsible for that. So they aren't like your typical, like, we don't have any entry level engineers. These are all like engineer agree. And I think it's just workload, is the reason why that they're the ones that are signing off on some of these items.
I understand in the government accounting process, you normally like to have multiple people involved.
Mhm.
One person doing selecting, a different person doing payment.
Yep.
To separate out the duties. And if the engineers are designing the project and then also selecting the vendor,
Mhm.
they're doing everything but the payment.
Mhm.
And there's not a separation there
Mhm.
for external control.
Sure. I guess we need to make sure what they're signing off on. I haven't seen, it doesn't come through me. I'm making an assumption with some of the contracts, but let's double check. and see what they're-
I'll get some.
Because I know we worked really hard on the separation of duties for the last couple of years because it was a scary issue. So let's double check
Just to
on
make
that.
sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I have a note here to get a background on what they are signing,
Yeah,
what the process is.
That's why they need, yeah, if they want more money, why do they need it? It's like, they want to hire signing authority. I was assuming it was contracts that they wanted to go higher, but maybe they've got a plan or maybe they have a separation of duties over there as they go through the process that I'm not aware of. I'm learning all kinds of stuff.
Right, so my takeaways are to increase the appropriated budgeted items to 50, town administrator within 50. And get more research on it. And purchasing. Any other input, questions, comments, concerns? The entirety of the purchasing.
What a surprise.
It is appreciated.
It is. I love it.
It's
This
good.
is all good. I love it. It's great.
This distinction.
I do.
I do know. Most of this was written before I started. Could be. It's a sole source of sorts. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, Bob might know. Because he's been, or Jenny. I think this was written by Judy Tippett. So I don't know if we've got any of the files still.
So if I understand, everybody on the signature authority list has the ability to make purchases. If the dollar amount was under $5,000, they could decide. So that might be in conflict with what we were just talking about, contracting with the engineers and RFPs. Is that going to be by his best judgment? And the two written quotes, I said that I would probably just eliminate the line, or if you need quotes, 3 written quotes would be the starting point. And exceptions could be allowed if it was a sole source.
Right. So going back to Patty's previous comment, trusting the staff and it being our responsibility, does the buyer's best judgment dollar amount need to go up? And then maybe rewritten quotes after 25,000? Or,
You're buying an airplane ticket, I think that's my best judgment. And a track. And consider that.
tractor, yes. Mhm.
Is that
Yeah, so I'm thinking more, and maybe this we have to spell it out a little better. I'm thinking more of these contracts. Capital purchases being separate, and then capital improvement is going to be your big, your Cleveland Avenues, your treatment plants.
So it'd be capital, service contracts. So that would be your engineering contracts.
Yeah.
So capital purchases.
I like it.
Oh, please don't. I can handle that. Actually, the department directors, they, just based on. Professional development.
So maybe more explicit. Service.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So service contracts up to 10. Cool. Bidding. And just do 3 written.
That's 10,000 visits. So it would cover quick and easy minor things, surprise things. Where if something costs more than $10,000, it should be assessed.
You know, to the point about how many bids, I just checked, we did an RFP for janitorial services. We reached out to companies, people who do LCSO, do the banks. We got 2. That was all we got after reaching out to everybody we could think of. So.
I believe later we have to show that we
Tempted. Okay,
Attempted.
that's right. I do remember that
So
now.
we can contact, or we do it on BidNet.
Yeah.
That's going to follow.
Okay, excellent. I just didn't want to pigeonhole it, so I do remember.
I like those categories: service contracts, capital purchase. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for your input on that. Like I said, anything else to do? I do want to shift us into a recap of the slideshow or presentation from last Tuesday. If you didn't join or watch it, did anyone see the? I am not Megan. I don't pretend to be Megan. Share this.
That's from Ed. Try. This time has a 40-page financial policy.
Okay. So really, last Tuesday, the mayor requested that we provide some background and supplemental information on utility rates. We've had 2 months. We've had June and July statements. We're seeing the effect of the tier structure that makes 2023. And just wanted to give some back. Last year was hot, water, less consumption, and many people didn't see the how this tier structure changed for them. We've heard from more residents this year. Our electeds have heard from more residents. We wanted to provide information for not only our trustees, but the community. Where this came from, you've all heard the spiel on the enterprise funds, understanding that we essentially run 3 business profits and they have to pay for themselves. Enterprise funds receive up to 10% of their revenue in the fund from taxpayer transfers to the general fund. That's part of Tabor, and our board has chosen to do that. That is an attempt to have an impact and keep rates a little bit lower. The financial health of utilities is critical. That does include fund balance policies, rigorous accounting practices, continuous monitoring, and a regular periodic rate activities. So ensuring that we have money to pay the bills now and in the future. That oversight. Within our two larger enterprise funds, which is water and wastewater, we thought it was important to show the largest ice expenses. So our North Cooter irrigation lease agreement saw a 640% increase in primary costs. We also have water treatment plant expansion and so our total water fund capital expenditures in 22 6.2 million, and in 23 because of that reduced water use, rain. So about 40% of our water fund expenditures comes from the wastewater fund, our largest expense there. And payments to capital expenditures. Just to give you an idea of the expenses that have to be paid with the utilities. Here's a history of our rates. You can see from 92 to 05, we had no adjustments. And that's where we didn't keep up. We have also, as far back as we could find, always had a tier structure. So the difference being in 23, fourth tier for high use was our fourth tier was added, and the essential use, which is you can see in 2020 there was the first attempt at outlined some of the financial issues, 35% base rate and 66% base rate. In 22, there was a rate study, citizens roundtable, that looked at all this and said, gotta be. That's where new rates are adopted. Single family and multifamily base rates that include your essential and usage. Now that the expense to use that much water carry. So you also have your water, wastewater here. Again, seeing the updates several years. 22, there was a jump in the base rate. Reviewed again with that same number.
What I love is on the water side in 2011 and 2012, they actually reduced the water rates. I mean, 2013 reduced. I mean, it took them until 2020 to bring them up to the rates they were at in 2006.
Rates. Is that per year?
Yes.
Mhm.
Their usage rates.
I don't remember that's in the rest of us.
These are our developer fees cap. So when a developer comes, every tap that is added has a expense system, water and wastewater to use our water system. There has been discussion that there developers are paying their rates. This is all part of the study to ensure that they are, as well as to why problems. Sure, we have to in 2022, there's a comprehensive rate and fee study for water and wastewater funds. This was to ensure sustainability of our utilities and ensure rates and fees cost proportion across all services. So you've got residential, commercial, and each of those have different demands. They have structure, making sure that each is paying their own way. We engaged a resident roundtable. That was used to identify the values of the principles. So really, what's important to the community, making sure that our rate structure matched that. The study outcomes were that we updated the rate structure, we updated the capital improvement fees. There's a 5-year financial plan in place for both. It did recommend a 5% annual rate increase for 5 years across the rate structure and a 4% annual rate increase. So ensuring that we are into the future. The approach, and this is where you have a chance to need it. It's followed industry standard methodologies. Analysis. Cost of service. Larger line or higher demand. What is that? Very important.
Well, that's why multifamily is low, because the cost of service is low for multifamily for residential. Residential is residential, then commercial, then multifamily. Have to rank for use. That's why. Yes.
So at that point, there was a rate structure developed to align with those objectives, maintaining the revenue stability, minimizing customer impact. And what we mean by that is consistent prices, what it is and what it's going to be. Essential water use pricing, that was where providing the 3,000 gallons or less base rate. That is also in that is the average residential usage across 75%. Proportionate cost recovery, so making sure that classes that residents pay appropriate cost. This is in the rate structure, we knew that approximately 47% of the town, that's 33% of the 7,000, 19%. This took effect in January. 5% increase did take effect in January. This is what that looks like now. So your base rate, water base rate, sewer base rate, in town of Wellington, storm drainage fee, Box Elder Basin, get to set it. You have your tiers based on the gallons. I think it was at this part, Megan shared some very interesting information that I learned in this process. If you use 3,990, it doesn't. We don't roll over to that next tier. This is the way it's in. We bill on 8,000. So when we bill, so this is copied from the sewer usage rate is a average of your winter quarter usage, January, February, March. So there's no irrigation. And then that updates in April, you're able to state chart that same amount of usage. Where you might see your sewer usage rate change is rate increase that takes effect January 1st. You would have 3 months of your previous usage, so your January, February, and March, using that same calculation from last April. So you might see a price change January state if your volume changes. Interesting to note that we actually saw volume here, so we anticipated is 4,000 gallons. It's the average sewer usage rate. There has been some behavior change. Here's the utility statement cycle. So we are currently in the middle, actually tomorrow launches meter reads. Meter reads are done by town of Wellington employees. We have 3 different types of meters currently. We've got 1,000 that are we got about another 1,000 that are read with a wand. And the remaining 75% are, but I know about about 3/4 of ours are radio frequency. So we have a transmitter that goes in through the neighborhood and picks up those reads. So on the last day of the month, your statement is generated. This is where I have a gallon example. 20th of the month is the last day to request payment arrangements and apply for the hardship utility grant. Hardship utility grant was created by the board of trustees in this rate process as well. This rate structure process a couple years ago. 25th of the month is the due date for current month statement. 26th of the month is fees assessed. So, we are waiving the fees right now. It's a couple months ago. Sure. These bills that you are considered delinquent for failure to pay the previous statement on the 25th, and we could mail you a statement 15th of that next month saying you'll be shut off. The 26th of the second month following statement generation is shut. You do have 60 full days or here's our trends for the year. So we have this is the rate model from 22. We anticipated 70% being 7,000 or less, and 2023 we're at 7.4% for year to date. You can see the breakdown, little fluctuation in numbers. That's but the average bill for June is 212. The average bill, this is residential. July 7. So we did see in process here 362 customers. So we did see people reduce their water. So there's some weather impacts noted on this that many Wellington utility customers irrigated far less in 2023 because we saw the wettest year on record. That's going to be your green line. And then in 2024, it has been significantly drier. So we are still below 22 and 23 in precipitation. And this does come from the Arctic, CC Arctic, which is right south treatment, wastewater treatment. Another interesting thing we wanted to point out, new information to a lot of you. These neighborhoods in green do not have access to same here. Non-potable meaning the existing agricultural wells that are needed. So sage meadows, estates, and these ones in green came on the line. There were agricultural wells able to be assessed and used. So 40%, roughly 40% had access to that, and that all the areas in green still continue to use historic. So we have done 89 work orders since June. That's done this week. A lot of the new meters were able to actually see how some of these uses, and we can almost directly to an irrigation cycle. In most cases, we have only confirmed 3 continuous use sleeves. So that's due to residential, so a first pipe and toilet. And we have confirmed that our meters, through rigorous testing using CSU entities. I did want to show that everyone that's on the board are elected representatives, and many of us that are affected by these as well. So you have as irrigation, you have staff at a 919. You have board members, 600. So when these rates are being set, they are being set affects ourselves, but it affects some of the data logs that we've seen have shown anywhere of 100 to 700 gallons per hour in 2 to 4 hour time frames, 2 times per week. So we can see these chunks from yards are being adding up to 12,000 gallons. State. Get one July state. It is important to check how much you're actually following. Check. And trustee, we soaking it in water. There have been several previous presentations to the board. So we have our 2024 and our 2023 rates. This slideshow is posted on the website. All of these links are accessible through that. There was a 2022 work session regarding the utility rate study. So if you want more information, we've got YouTube and we have files. Some resources, there is free irrigation audits through Resource Central. Come out and ensure you're using more water than you need to. There's the hardship utility grant. The mayor has called special meetings. And there are also external services. And the last piece of information is just to share that our utility billing department is one person. The best way to get a hold of them is through email. We do also offer phone, so you can call the town. These are the hours. I'll tell you that one person is out of the office this week. Telling it. So I am. So yes, email and patience.
He's killing it. Excuse me, I've got the hiccup.
So I thought it was important to share this information. You all, as the finance committee, the board saw it last week. It was put together by myself and the deputy director, deputy director Megan Smith, Director Gowling, and Patty assisting as well. So, any questions?
It's a lot of information.
Yes. I'm ready. Just saying it. What did you call it?
It's an extra director or something.
So, the other thing is the electric company there is used to these kinds of price changes, because in the summer you run your air conditioner a lot there, and in the winter you never use it. And so they have like a balanced billing.
Yes.
Now we're looking into that budget billing.
Yeah.
It's okay, no, but yes, it is definitely something. we're looking
I
into.
personally use it. I have. So it is. I know. I've heard it. It is a capability within our system. It's a matter of we need to understand how it works and how we do it as well, and get it set up to be turned on. It is, and actually, so it makes sense. You spread that out. So long it's energy. So cold snap in January.
Do you think we can have that ready for 2025, or do you think that's being too aggressive?
I don't know.
Okay, of course. I know where you were. Okay. I'll ask you later. When you get back from your conference.
I need to.
Yeah, understood. Well, we need to get you some people hired. Have them.
Yeah, because I think that would soften things, because
Yes.
everybody also knows that it didn't suddenly cost the town X number of dollars more that month to provide the water. That it's spread out over time. So okay. Thank you.
So I'm gonna forward to you all, it might be too much information, but the company that did our water rate study is Redavid. And so I've kind of been forwarding that information along to the people who have asked and things, but it does have a lot of really good information.
Jason.
You may have seen it before. Yeah, but this is the final report. It is a lot of information, but it helps you understand how we figured out the rates, why the rates are the way they are. There's a lot of data behind it, so I'm getting ready to send it to you right now.
And two things to know that we're also sharing. We are in active discussions about the contract price. I don't the exact dates. Conversation that is being had currently. We're also in a water source. In other words, where do we get our water? It's our source right now. Something were to happen. Serve our residents. So there is. Right? Yes.
It's definitely possible. It's
Water
just,
side.
yeah. Right, we have quite a few options, and Megan Smith is our deputy director. Public Works is very well connected, regionally related to water. Our problem is, and this is something we've been looking at for years, but we don't have the money because we put all our money into the North Cooter contract, so we don't have money to put aside to come up with the infrastructure for these additional water sources. So if we can get this contract renegotiated, it was put in place in 1983. We can get this contract renegotiated. That will help us save money, so we can start securing those additional water resources, so we don't always have to rely on North Cooter. It is going to take some time, but it's like the contract was put in place in 1983, so it's not going to. We can't make changes very quickly. And the North Cooter board is pretty. I mean, they're businessmen, and the agreement worked well for us for many years, and it's been probably the last 10 years that it's been good for North Cooter. So,
Contract may be older than some of us at this table. And are there ways to get the non-potable water to the other neighborhoods?
and I think that would be no. I mean, it would be having to create some sort of water source, because these the non-pot water is coming from wells on specifically on property with the development agreement.
Better, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's also
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and the goal for us is to try to create those more systems. So there's a couple that, like Saddleback is a new one that will not be, I mean, it'll be operable water because there's nothing there, nothing available, but we're really trying to find ways to, moving forward with our developments that will be coming online over the next 5-10 years, that there's some option.
So is that what you're seeing?
Mhm.
And there's a need. It worked out for the last 7 years. Actually, shares.
So take advantage of it. We just
So that was the information from last week. Thank you. Okay. Any comments or questions? Check the order bills.
I know, we both know where we were,
And
the offices are right there.
I will, should be very clear. Both the first version of this I sent out. My apologies. It was included on the agenda that they were drafts. Drafts do mean that they can change. To Patty's point a few minutes ago, I am actively hiring 2 positions, which means I am doing my best to backfill all the roles, including posting expenditures, posting revenues, working with department heads to ensure GL coding was correct. So what you see today, what is in the packet today, may change for the final version next week. There may even be a draft version for the trustees. See what I have the capacity and bandwidth to get done in a week. So,
And he's doing budget.
yeah, it's budget season. Budget season, hiring,
So many things.
counting. It's also emails today. Not these. I will have my work phone, yes. And I will tell you, I sent emails last week from the Disney. I checked in.
It's hard when you're short-handed, small staff. It's just hard.
We try to be efficient, and I would say in trying to be efficient, not trying to hire efficient, hire smart. The jobs that are coming that I posted are not budget and finance analyst and AP work, looking at broader rules that are able to assist and we're all able to cross train. And of course, there will be delineation of responsibilities, AP, AR. But if someone's out, someone's on bereavement, sick, whatever it may be, being able to support so that we're not in this type of a situation again. Better use the hours. So I'll just leave the conversation there for the treasurer's report and or the report of bills. If there are any questions that I can get back to you with.
So maybe for your reporting, there's only 2 HUD grants.
Yeah, and I can tell you as there's been more year to date. As a maybe was there?
Yeah, I mean,
It's Monday still, right?
it is. I know. It feels like it should be like Thursday. I'm just saying.
There have been 10. 9 of them have been for the full currently allotted amount of 300. There was one that did not request the full amount. So, and if you're like I said, if you're interested in learning more about the HUD grant or tomorrow there's a special meeting. Yeah, there were two. That would have been, most likely May statements. And some people did turn on irrigation. They didn't. Contacts. June statements.
Surprised. Lack of application.
And we are working with our utility partner and our front desk to offer. It's not something that we discover. We are offering if you feel about it. We are also doing payment plans. So it's a balance. We're looking typically 3 to 6 months. We're going to look at previous usage, previous payment history. We also have to balance ensuring that revenues are coming in. It is a manual payment plan. But the budget billing, this is something we're doing manually, tracking manually. So you need to also ensure that revenues are coming in time to pay for expenditures.
Application's really simple. You don't ask for W-2s, payment information, tax returns, nothing like that. You just have to say on your form that you're experiencing a hardship. Hardship could be, I can't afford paying my water bill. It could be that simple. So we've tried to make it easy. We're not requiring documentation. It's available for residents if they need it.
Any other comments, feedback, questions about the two reports, the draft reports? Perfect. Well, that being said, I will just go around if anyone has any reports themselves. Typically, Trustee Cannon to give us an update from the board.
We just talked about water. Joint meeting tomorrow night with Main Street.
Strategic plan. Strategic planning for the next few years is underway with the board to update and place that. All right. Well, see no further discussion, no public comments. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you all for being here tonight and quality conversation on purchasing policy. Great rest of your night.